What's happening, Bills Mafia? Ryan Thomas here, live on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. We are a couple days away, couple days since the tragedy that we saw on Monday Night Football, and I'm back on to discuss some things that I've learned within the community within the last few days that I want to keep everybody informed on, as well as recent NFL news that we have heard from the National Football League in regards to the Buffalo Bills' future, and when we expect, as of now, what news can we expect as of now. So let's get right to it. Today we got some great news from the Damar Hamin camp, and that is that Damar Hamin's showing positive signs. Those were the exact words from Damar Hamin's marketing rep and friend as they stood outside the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. The doctors are encouraged with the progress that they've seen thus far, and of course, they're keeping that progress and the parameters and the details behind that progress a little bit vague. But the details, the news is positive. The details are slim, but the news is positive, and that's all I can ask for us to just consistently get this positive news on the player. Consistently get news that Damar Hamin is slowly but surely getting back to full health, and hopefully we see a moment where Damar Hamin's in the lead car of the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl parade, hoisting the Lombardi Trophy as a member of the Super Bowl winning Buffalo Bills this season. That's the dream for every Bills fan right now, to see Damar Hamin in the lead car in the Super Bowl parade hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. What a scene that would be. Getting into recent NFL news and discussing recent NFL news, I want to first acknowledge the fact that the NFL has been a little bit more vocal in terms of news. I think we're going to hear more in the coming days in regards to what we can expect for Bills and schedule. As of now, as we sit here, right now, the Bills are scheduled to face the New England Patriots at 1 o'clock this Sunday. I have my own thoughts on that. Personally, I feel that an announcement could be coming. I don't know this for certain. I'm just going off of opinion here, so don't say that I'm quoting anyone, or I'm not doing that. I'm not quoting anyone. You can quote me just in terms of my gut feeling and what I feel could potentially happen. I feel like this team is not going to play the Patriots on Sunday. I feel like the game could come on Monday. I feel like the game could be played on Tuesday. I don't feel like it's going to happen on Sunday. I just have a gut feeling that it's not going to happen, because the league has not acknowledged that it is happening. It's just that it's going on schedule. The schedule is the schedule. The schedule hasn't changed yet. That doesn't mean that it won't or that it can't. It just hasn't happened yet. And I predict that it could potentially in the next day or so. Whether it does, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong, I just have that gut feeling in regards to that. As well, we know that the Bills will not be playing the Cincinnati Bengals again this week. And to me, I feel, as I talked about last night, I feel like that's the right move. I feel like that's the only move to be made, in the sense that the Bengals, their game is going on as scheduled. Their next week's game is going on as scheduled against the Baltimore Ravens, and that game has huge ramifications for the AFC North as to whether or not the Ravens can win and get in, or if the Bengals can keep the Ravens potentially bumped out of the playoffs. We will see. You know, they're hurting without Lamar Jackson. Hundley has not been that great, and the Ravens might not have a realistic shot there. So there's a lot at play here. We're talking about two teams, the Bengals and the Bills, whether or not they will play. Troy Vincent, NFL Players Association president and leader of men, I will say, I'll throw that in there as well. He's handled this with such class and has gone up even higher in terms of points in my book. He stated today that basically the all options are being left open. All options are being discussed. There's nothing that is left off the table. But as I rack my own brain going through scenarios in which this season can kind of move forward once we fully know what's going on with Damar Hamin, first and foremost, his health is paramount to anything football related. How will they go about doing it? I feel like that is a story in and of itself that I want to discuss, but I don't want to hammer home because my biggest thought process right now is what's going on with Damar Hamlin. But as we hopefully consistently, day after day after day, get positive news about Damar Hamlin's condition, I hope that we can continue to get positive information in regards to the team's healing, as far as their mental health and getting through what they went through, not just the Bills, but the Cincinnati Bengals as well. So, scenario-wise, I don't see the NFL moving forward any other way in terms of rescheduling things than doing one thing and one thing only. And that is just simply pushing the season another week, giving another week to the season, pushing the season back, whether that means they change the date of the Super Bowl. They wouldn't necessarily have to. I think it should mean buffering that week away. That is a break week for the number one seed. The number one seed, as of right now, gets home field advantage in the playoffs and also gets that week off. Well, with this, the one seed would not. The one seed would get home field advantage, but they wouldn't get that 1 week off because that 1 week would be made up of the Bengals and Bills playing that game. I am all for the Bengals and Bills not playing the game this week. It can't happen. It shouldn't happen. It's wrong if it did happen. I think the only thing I can say in regards to the NFL and what they've done wrong in this whole situation is not necessarily that they handled it wrong. They didn't handle it all wrong. It just took them too long to handle it right. Took them way too long to handle it right. And that's oftentimes the case. In this situation, though, I do have to say, dialing it back from the last couple days and letting my brain kind of seep in the details of this whole situation that was a traumatic experience for everybody watching at home, say the following, that there was no right way to handle this other than the way it was handled. The only right way to handle it was to let those teams decide whether or not they should play in that moment, and those teams decided that they could not. The Bengals didn't want to, according to Joe Burrow, and we know what Sean McDermott was feeling from what he told Zach Taylor in terms of what Zach Taylor said today. We know that Zach Taylor said Sean McDermott didn't want to be on the sideline anymore. He felt like he needed to be in the hospital and not coaching a football game. And maybe I'm paraphrasing there, but that was pretty much the exact quote. We know the looks on the faces of the Buffalo Bills players in the aftermath of Damar Hamlin's injury. We know that that was the right decision. But despite the horrible feeling that we've had as Bills Mafia members, and despite the news trickling in being positive, there is almost a sense of wonderment in terms of what is going to happen with the league. What is going to happen moving forward, because the NFL has never handled a situation like this. What has me encouraged about Damar Hamlin is the fact that we're hearing this positive news. And I've said that a few times already, but what I mean by that is positive news, not just in regards to Damar Hamlin's condition, but positive news in terms of the way this team is reacting to what they laid witness to on Monday night. And knowing that Buffalo Bills and Buffalo Sabres owner Terrence Pegula told Chris Brown and Steve Tasker that he is willing to do whatever it takes. Whatever needs to be done, it's done. In terms of Terry Pegula taking care of Damar Hamlin and any medical procedures that need to happen in order to bring Damar Hamlin back to a natural, healthy, living life. That brought me to tears, hearing that. Made me very proud to be a Buffalo Bills fan. It made me very proud um, to know that there's owners out there that would be willing to do that, as they all should be. But to hear that, that was really nice. That was really nice. That made my day. So if anyone missed that today, I'm listening to One Bills Live, WGR, Sports Radio 550, Chris Brown, Steve Tasker. They're talking about the whole situation with Damar Hamlin and how we're going to handle it and what are we hearing. Chris Brown says, I have a statement from Terrence Pagula, and that statement says they're willing to do whatever is necessary to help Damar Hamlin during his time at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. And hopefully I'm getting that right. But the Cincinnati Medical Center, we could just leave it at that. If I did get it wrong, my apologies. But shout out to that team. That's the team that I'm rooting for these next few days. These next few, for however long it takes, I'm rooting for that team. So, as we get more news, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date. I'm doing this just as a form of therapy based on the fact that I love football. I know that you guys and gals love football as well. What I witnessed on Monday Night Football was very traumatic. It was very tough for me to watch. I watched the game again to not see the hit, not see the injury, but to hear the broadcast and kind of rack my brain back to what I saw. And what I saw was what I saw. I saw two teams talk to each other. I saw two teams round another, and I saw a football league that literally did say originally 5 minutes to warm up, and I'll never ever forget that. You can't forget that. If we were to forget that, we would be lying to ourselves. So I'm happy that we're able to hear positive news today over the course of the day and hear that our owner, Terry Pagula, is stepping up, trying to do whatever it takes to help Damar Hamlin. And there are options out there in terms of what the NFL should do. I know that that's what is kind of on the mind. Trust me, I have, fantasy football guys wondering, like, what am I doing in the championship? What are we going to do for it? And I haven't really given them a clear-cut answer because there isn't one right now. We don't know. So they're not asking me in terms of, asking me. We're talking and trying to decipher just the situation, because I do think this game can be replayed. Should it be replayed? That's another question. Can it be replayed? Sure, it can be replayed and resumed from the yard line, from the time, from the moment, from the score. It could be. The question is when. And I really think the only thing you can do is push the season back a week. Jeff Miller, the NFL executive vice president, said that conversation about what we do with that game has begun. And Troy Vincent, as I stated, some of the rest of them are getting the conversations ongoing. So we will hear something, I think, as early as tomorrow or Friday in regards to what's going to happen with the Bills and the Patriots, as of now scheduled on Sunday at 1, or whether or not the Bills will play the Bengals the following week or at some point in the next week if it's pushed back. So I want to send a shout out to, I got a message from a buddy of mine, Adam Huxell. He's got his own sports passions, as do I, and he's in the trading card racket, so to speak. And he said, "Hi, Ryan. I saw your post about reaching out if anyone wants to talk about Damar Hamlin," which that is an open invitation. If anyone feels like they want to throw me a direct message to discuss their feelings on the whole situation with Damar Hamlin based on the traumatic events that ensued on Monday Night Football, feel free to send me a message. I don't get to chat with you. Obviously, we are both Buffalo guys and each have our own outlet and passion within sports. He went on to tell me he has a biology degree from DUville, right here in Buffalo. His mother has been in nursing for close to 40 years. Shout out to Mama Huxell. They've been talking pretty extensively, of course, about the Damar Hamin situation, as has everyone, since Monday night. And he wanted me to discuss the importance of something that is extremely, the single most important facet of this situation with Damar Hamin. And that is the heroic response of the emergency responders. And the fact that I have not discussed this yet, I'm ashamed to my core. Obviously, they are heroes. I support EMT, firefighters, police officers, military. I'm huge on that. Huge on that. Those that know me very, very well, I'm a true supporter of our armed forces, our military, everyone that protects us and serves us and keeps us safe. They're number one heroes in my book. So, with that being said, there's going to be ways that our community can reach out to support EMT. There's going to be first aid classes, AED classes to become certified. And I realize, as well as Adam, that it is not for everybody, but it is extremely important. He has been recertified about 6 or 7 times, and the knowledge learned is extremely valuable to him. And even if someone never has to actually use it, it's actually done in a 4 to 6 hour class, and it's not a ton of time taken away from someone to become certified. And it usually lasts 2 to 3, sometimes 4 years. Depending on the association or the organization you take the class from. So I wanted to commend Adam for sending me that message, and I wanted to read it and dissect it and discuss it on the show tonight. The EMT first responders to resuscitate. Damar Hamin died on the field. I want to say that without sounding negative or morbid, but Damar Hamin died on the field. His heart stopped. He was resuscitated. It took them over 10 minutes to resuscitate him on the field, and they heroically were able to achieve that. And because of that, Damar Hamin is positively sitting in a intensive care unit with more positive news surrounding that than what would have been had they not been able to do that. So shout out to the EMTs, the team in Cincinnati, the medical team at the medical center in Cincinnati. They are true heroes. And to anyone that's looking to go down that path and be an EMT, there are definitely programs out there, and we're going to hear more about those programs. We're going to get more awareness surrounding those programs. And as soon as I have any more information for anybody, I'll be happy to provide it. No problem. So thank you, Adam. With that being said, we are now a couple days removed from the Monday Night Football game between the Bills and Bengals that will forever be known as a game that I think will change the National Football League. I hope it's a game that will change the National Football League for the better, and that the National Football League will learn from this tragic instance that I think the Bills are left reeling right now, as they should be. This is one of their brothers, one of their teammates. But I know that medical team is working really hard to help Damar Hamin. Prayers to Damar Hamin and his family. Thank you so much for tuning in.